Okay guys, check this out. Got me a new steering column. It was pretty easy. The wiring was plug and play since my original column was GM as well. And the only thing that will not be plug and play is this wiper switch. It comes with a special relay, and my original one is only a 2-speed. And this one has multiple speeds. You got the intermittent and all that other garbage. So you're going to hook that up, and you're going to find a place to put your new relay and you're going to run it to your motor. Okay, here's what the relay looks like. So this part connects to your steering column, and these you run to your motor. Now, I'm not sure exactly what these go to, but I'll do some research and I'll show you how to hook these up in another video. Alright, now let's talk about the installation process. Come under here. You got these brackets. You got a bolt there. And you got a bolt there. Now notice this little aluminum thing right here. This is a little aluminum spacer. And come over here. I take that one off because the bracket to this steering column is just a little bit narrower. So I had to dislocate that steering spacer in order to give me the clearance I need. And come back here. This plate, there's two pieces. There's a piece up here and a piece down here. You got a bolt here, a bolt there, and you have one up there. And you disconnect these two 1/2-inch bolts, and it comes off in two pieces. Now, this was original to the car, did not come with a new column, but it fit perfectly, and it covers up this hole, so that was another modification that I did not have to do. Okay, so here we are in the engine bay. So what I had to do is, I left the original steering shaft, but I cut the U-joint off at the end here. And this part is from the new column. And I cut it off of the shaft, and I butted these two pieces together and welded them up. The reason why is because the new column has a little oval track on it that this goes on. The original one had a round sprocket thing on it, and they weren't the exact match. So I cut this off and I put it on here and I welded it, but this is where the modification gets tricky. Come over here at the steering box. Those bolts down there aren't, perfectly straight, so you're gonna have to go off of the measurements and angles of that in order to give you a straight steering wheel. Now my steering wheel is straight, but I welded it on crooked because I didn't go off of the steering box. So when I put it on, my steering wheel was completely sideways. And how I fixed that is this thing right here. You turn back and forth and move the steering wheel back and forth. The only problem is now my pitman arm is off. And that's not a big deal, but your wheel will turn farther one way than it will the other. But my wheels, my big tires hit the frame before it even bottoms out, so I'm not worried about that. But just keep that in mind. This is what I did to make up for the crooked steering wheel. Alright, now one more thing. This little clip right here goes your wipers. You got all these different color codes of wires. And I'll show you guys that in another video. And if you come up here, you got your blinkers, your cruise control, your high beams, that kind of thing. But this clip went to the Wagoner, and this is off of the Cherokee. And GM designed their wiring harness to be plug and play. So I can just take this off like that. This is original to the car. I did not cut it off whatsoever. And I'm just showing you guys that you do not have to do any wiring modifications. And that's like the one thing I was most satisfied about, is not having to do any wiring modifications to this whatsoever. Another thing I like too is that this steering column had the key already in it. So that's another thing I like that I did not have to worry about, is that this already came with the key and it works perfect. So that's another thing I like about the steering column. You don't find a lot of keys. You're gonna have a hard time in the junkyard finding a steering column with a key in it. So I lucked out there. And just to prove you guys that it works, turn it on, your amp gauge comes on, and go ahead and work the blinkers. Left one works, right one works, and wipers don't work. Obviously, I haven't hooked up yet. And last but not least, the horn. That works too. So this is pretty much a direct fit. And another thing is that the steering column had a built-in wall that bolts up to the firewall. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, see that little plate right there? That was the design of the Cherokee. Now, you're going to have to take that plate off the firewall in order to squeeze this through here. And it's pretty much got no structural value to it. So if you go behind here, it's got a big gap. So it's not doing anything anymore. And if it bothers you enough, you can go ahead and cut it off. But it's not, this one's not in harm's way. It's not interfering with anything, so I'm not too worried about it. Another thing I forgot to add is that your hazard lights also work. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Next video I'll be showing you how to wire up your wipers so you have multiple speeds, not this 2-speed garbage. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and more videos are on the way. Thanks for watching.